Yo, what is up, everyone? Sorry for the delay. Thanks for checking out FunPop. It's been a few weeks since the week before Halloween, actually, since we've had a FunPop episode. So we got some stuff to catch up on. Marvel's Loki, a lot of Marvel news has actually come out, and rumors and speculation as well the last couple weeks. So we're gonna it's gonna be a very Marvel heavy episode, like it is often around here on Fun Pop. But I want to thank each and every one of you for being here. You guys rock. I see my beautiful wife in the chat. What's up, baby? Alvin's here hanging out. What's up, man? Sanchez, MTZ Gaming. How are you doing? Raid Zafar, how's it going? Mitchy Poo, what up? What up? Rellskee, Ghost Fixter. I hope you are all doing all right. What's up, Def Leopard? Let's say hello to this awesome panel as well. What's up, Psycho? How you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. Hope my mic levels are good. But yeah, everything's finished the Loki season finale. And god damn, that was good.
Yeah.
But I did not see the Marvels. I've been working, so I have not had the opportunity to go see it. But seems like it's like depends on who you talk to. It's some people like it, some people don't. So
yeah. It was a movie that was shit on a lot before it even came out. You know what I mean? So it's like it. But
I think a lot of people only liked it because the ending scene, but I think they got hit with a nostalgia bomb, and they're like, "Oh, okay."
Well, it will be careful for the spoilers on Marvels. Also because Psycho hasn't seen it. Loki, though, we are gonna probably get spoilery because it's on Disney Plus, and the season finale was last week as well. So but yeah, I'll be careful not to spoil the Marvels. But me and 3-Bit have seen it. Have you haven't seen it yet, Jasper?
I haven't seen it. I watched the ending scene though. I watched the leak.
The mid credit scene. Okay.
Yeah.
Right on. Hi Jasper, how are you doing?
Doing pretty good. Finished Call of Duty campaign, and wow, the ending of that game is abrupt.
It just kind of ended.
Yeah, it's just like, oh, we're done. Okay. So,
do you think they're setting up for actually doing a Call of Modern Warfare 4?
No.
I think they need to now because of how that rushed like they did Modern Warfare 3. We'll see, I guess. Yeah, thanks for being here as well, bro. 3-Bit, how are you doing, man?
Doing pretty good. Been playing a little bit of Alan Wake 2. Game is creepy as heck. Finished up on Loki whenever the premiere was. Pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
And I watched the Marvels. It's gonna be hard not to talk about certain things, I guess, in the Marvels, but we're gonna not spoil it too bad for Psycho.
Yeah. And the chat too. Like, we're gonna be real careful with that. I mean, there's like, if you guys don't care about spoilers, I would say look online, especially if you don't care about watching the movie, and find the mid-credit scene. I'm sure you can find it somewhere, like one of the end credit scenes. Like, it's a big deal, right?
Honestly, I don't think it is, but
yeah, I think it is. I mean, it's been something I've been waiting for, So, but I think
the way they're going to handle it, I don't think it will be a big deal. That's what I'm saying.
I've been thinking about that too. Like, it may not end up being like that, and maybe something else, right? But it's hard to talk about without saying what it was and what it can mean. So, but yeah, Loki we'll get more into, but also kind of want to touch on a little bit of gaming stuff real quick. So like we had our show yesterday, FSP, where we kind of like toured those Game Award nominees, a new one, about like, and it wasn't just
every
about
category.
It wasn't just Xbox bias. It's just like fucking categories are weird and like just really bad as far as the game, a lot of the games that fit into certain categories. So there was some people that didn't like what we said or whatever, but I also made a post on Twitter just saying like, I think overall, and this is a discussion we've had numerous times about reviews, and I brought it up a lot with Jedi Survivor because that game was pretty broken, and it got a free pass, right? and that I think a lot of the reviews and games media just has their biases and preferences on certain genres or all these different kinds of things, right? And I think it's kind of ruined reviews. And like I remember the old days back in the day when like reviews and games media like had like a standard of objectivity where like being objective was like a hallmark of being a good reviewer, and it used to mean something. Like if you weren't objective when you were like reviewing things, and being objective means trying to leave out your personal preferences and biases in favor of
That's
being
gone.
informative, right? And I was making a post about that, right? But then you got these clowns on social media that automatically, right, take that to Starfield and Xbox, start again calling you conspiracy theorists and stuff because you're bringing to light something you have an issue with just in the reviews in general. It's something that we talked about numerous times. Well, that post was ended up being a little bit of a trap because the very thing that they're trying to claim against, they're not being conspiracy theorists and biases against Xbox and Starfield and all this stuff. The only people that brought that shit up was them on that post. I never mentioned Xbox or Starfield once on that entire damn post. I never mentioned Xbox at all. But there you go. People putting the little tinfoil hat things, trying to claim Xbox and conspiracy theory on that, all that shit, like on a post that had nothing to do with it. So who does that make sound like they're actually have an agenda, right? Like somebody who goes onto a post that has nothing to do with Xbox or Starfield and starts claiming that it's about that, and you don't have a right to say it, or is it the person that actually just left all that out and just made a very generic post about reviews?
Yeah, I mean, and the person who's done that, I've had so many different little scuffs battles with him, where he tries to be on this one side of like, oh, I am actually not biased at all. I am in between, and he says all these big things that literally doesn't make any sense, and then you go down this rabbit hole. It's just when we were pointing out the stuff yesterday, of course, like I feel like there's a bias towards Xbox and Starfield specifically. There's a lot of documentation with that I could provide, whether it's IGN posting almost every single day saying their low review score, or um, them just trying to get clicks, and that's kind of where our conversation was leading, in a way where instead of being objective and instead of reviewing things with a non-biased state of mind, it feels like games are more damage for how someone feels. And this is not just Starfield, although I do feel like Starfield was a big portion of that. I think another game that was also hurt because of that was Hogwarts. Because of how the media
100%, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because of how the media felt about Hogwarts, they were it felt like they could not be objective. They were so hurt about what
They didn't
the
even want to cover the
author
game.
didn't even want to cover the game.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what we were talking about, not just Starfield. I do feel like Starfield is a
Well, I mean,
point
the
of conversation,
Starfield and like Starfield and Hogwarts and like other games like that. Hogwarts is a different beast entirely, just due to it being like a political and like controversial issue. Like,
but that just goes into the conversation because we're talking about how the media just doesn't like treat the way they treat game reviews nowadays, is how they feel rather than what the game's quality is. And I feel like that goes into the review process for the award show as well. And that's kind of what we were talking about.
And I think like obviously that should be included in the review and also reflective of the score as well. But like I feel like that's all they focus on now. Like where it used to be like, okay, let's focus on the sound design. Here's how I grade this, right? And here's how I grade the like overall gameplay feel or the mechanics, or this is how I grade the graphics. This is, you know what I mean? Replayability used to be a thing. Like how much value am I getting for this, right? So it's not just like a start and end and then it's done, because they used to grade games based on that too. It was actually usually a category a lot in popular review magazines back in the day. But these days now it's just like the ego of the reviewers is like, I know what's best. It's like, I am this person that has this amazing view on games, and you have to listen to what my opinion is because I am speaking for the website, and this is what my feelings are, and this is where it stands, regardless of anything else, right? And biases are all there, preferences are all there, and it could be genre preference, it could be anything, like it's just all exposed, like because if they're playing a game that's not their type of game, like it comes through real clear, so that's basically where we're coming from with that stuff. And I think
Yeah, I mean, and that with like that conversation with Hogwarts, with Starfield, but also stuff with like Jedi Fallen Order, where they didn't even mention the bugs and stuff. So
it was a footnote. Yeah. Oh, there's problems, but they said they're fixing it. So it's
yeah,
okay.
there's some problems, but
Took 6 months.
like goodness, that stuff will, like, to me it affects what you're buying. Like you're buying a $70 game, and that affects your experience. That's pretty important to add to a review.
But and then the problem is too, like speaking of the Game Awards thing, like you brought up, like when the panel is made up of these people, also it's like inherently shows forth there also, and it comes across. It's supposed to be a reflection of the gamers, right? But honestly, I don't feel like it is.
Yeah. With the 120 people on that board, when we were going through the list of, like, whether it's the esports nomination of the guy not even being there that year, or ongoing game and having a game like Cyberpunk, which I don't agree with, like, sure, have it on there, but there's just certain things like the community engagement, certain games that was included, just it doesn't. I don't feel it doesn't represent what gamers are actually playing or what they're actually feeling. There's been this disconnect from gamers to the media, like these past few generations. I feel like the media feels one way, and then they try to kind of put a broad stroke of how everyone else should feel. I don't know. It's been feeling that way for quite some time, especially with big sites like IGN, and like, oh, this is how
it's not even just games either. Like, I mean, I feel like it's that way with movies too. Like, you could look at something like The Last Jedi, for example. Like, the critics loved it, the fans hated it. Like, even movies are not immune to like the.
I feel like movies has been getting more kind of like critics feel this way, and
it's like
people who watch
the critics are always the opposite. Yeah, it's like
So yeah, you're right. That's in movies as well.
Yeah. So anyway, just wanted to say that stuff. Like there's clearly people that do have an agenda, but there's also like a lot of just like inherent biases or preferences that influence all of this. And like, I just do miss the days where that was kind of what made you a good reviewer, is being able to like objectively look at things. Like it's just it's gone. It's all opinion. It's the same way as like all the games media has gone to like opinion pieces. Like
mainstream media, game media, 100%. Every media is that way now. Like it's opinion based.
Changed.
It's not.
Yeah. But that's even permeated into reviews. And
I wish it was a little bit more objective. Like, there's still people out there who are doing the hard work. Like, I'll say like someone like Ains and stuff.
Creators that do that. That's the thing now. It's not like the big budget ones aren't that way. Because they're owned by larger corporations or sponsors and stuff like that. And they got
money driven.
Yeah, like IGN has
the smaller
several
people
videos.
are more passionate about it, so they're going to speak their own mind.
Mm-hmm.
It's so dumb that it's works that way. Because I mean, if you check like IGN recent videos, they have a bunch of sponsored videos by Spider-Man, and I'm just like, it's a weird thing when you have a corporation like IGN, who is the biggest gaming media publication. And I try to be like, on one hand, where people are like, oh, it shouldn't matter, you should play what you want to play and whatever. But those big publications do affect what games could possibly be made. I mean, I know as Sony at some point they do determine what games will be made by their Metacritic scores and things like that, and how successful it's deemed. So it is a little bit of a power thing to me. And it is kind of important that some games are received well. Not necessarily for the game's future, but I don't know. It is a little bit important. Like, I can't completely ignore like IGN's craziness, like their complete terrible reviewers and stuff like that. I feel like there has to be some accountability there as well because of how it influences the casual market and how it actually can affect the future of that game's success. So I don't know. I can't completely ignore IGN or someone.
What's funny too is people literally get upset when you bring up this stuff or when you like talk about how you feel like a game should have been included or it's not. Like they get like pissed off. You know what I mean? Like that was like filled with our comments on from our show last night. Somebody even was like, well, explain to me why like Starfield should be there. Nobody thought it was good except for the Xbox echo chamber. And I had no response to that because it's just like ridiculous, right? I just said masterpiece, right? So then somebody else comes in and is like, I was a first time watcher and this is the last time. I'm unsubbing from this channel. I'm like, cool, man. It's like, I don't care. Like, if you don't like the content, obviously it's not for you, but like it's people get really like triggered or upset if you bring this stuff up or try and expose these kind of things, and it's like
people are really mad at me for saying Starfield was my game of the year. I had so many comments just being like,
I think the thing is you need to like people need to learn the value that IGN does have and then like take away some stuff that they like. The reviews, they don't matter. So like let's look at what IGN does have that's valuable to the game industry. Like they get the first trailers, they get the first interviews. That stuff's more valuable for like gaming people than their reviews.
Yeah, and that goes into the movies and stuff and a lot of the things we do also. Like I just saw this clip of David Harbour posted from IGN talking about Starfield like at one of their events or whatever, or like they'll have Marvel like interviews with other people or like movie stuff. And like I appreciate that. I do like that stuff, but like where I feel like it's hard to ignore the review stuff though, because they are the biggest games media outlet by far. So their reviews are always going to be put out there more than others. And that's where they kind of, to me, being as big as they are and as they promote themselves as like the number one games media outlet, like they have a responsibility.
It won't affect my enjoyment of the product, but what it does affect is like we like to look at the future of the console brand, and when we talk about it in different conversations, we want basically the best for whatever ecosystem we're in. Where we talk about Xbox, we want Xbox to be better, we want PlayStation to be better. I want a better Switch, better Nintendo platform. So when we're talking about it, it's like it does sort of go into a field where we want the brand to improve and things like that. But when the media kind of talks about, when IGN constantly will have 20 articles saying how Starfield, you should play a better game than Starfield. It's hard to ignore. Just be like
2 months later, an article comes out from. So
there's still articles about Starfield.
It's not just IGN, obviously. It's like all these other websites. And honestly, like I will say that a lot of these other sites like are actually worse in what they put out, right? But I will say that IGN because of their size, the impact is felt a lot more from the shade that they do throw, right? So it's like there's responsibility there, but it is what it is. The media doesn't feel like they have responsibility
a little bit
at
more
all anymore.
Responsibility, because like they report on it, and then it's like people like just ignore that, but then it also affects like the Game Awards and other stuff.
If Fun Speculation was the biggest like gaming outlet out there, I would feel a shit ton of responsibility, right? Like we would, like I think all of us would, you know what I mean? Like we treated everything kind of different. Like, okay, we have to really make sure that like
I wouldn't be like this game is trash.
We're still who we are and have our integrity and stuff, but like but there's also like a level of responsibility. Like we're not that though. We're just like a bunch of guys and people that just
like I would make sure I 100% that game. Actually,
to do a review. If we did a review, even when we started to do reviews a little bit, I came up with this overly convoluted system because I wanted to make sure it was fair, right? Like, and I had all like 5 categories, and we were doing like scores per category. Then I would take all the points from all of us as a cumulative. Then I would divide them and stuff and like award points, and it actually ended up working. It was like it actually worked. I was But you know, I don't know if we care enough to do it too much. You know,
Yeah.
so
It's also hard because like not all of us play the game at the same time. We're
Yeah.
playing different stuff, and
yeah. So if it's just like Jasper that plays it, like it's gonna be scored lower, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's you know what I mean.
We gotta have a chance to get to it.
All of our outlooks are different, so I felt like that was the right way to do things. You know, but even then, I felt like a weight of responsibility, like to make sure like it's fair. You know, but it is what it is. Like it's kind of like a lost cause. I feel like at this point, you know, it's just broken, and when you try and say that it needs to be fixed or there's issues with it, you have a swath of like people like, oh, you're just a hater, just mad.
But they feel that way.
Crying because Starfield didn't get your Game of the Year nominee, or like all this kind of stuff, and it's like, man, I'm just like trying to call this shit out because like you know this broken system's been broken for years. I had issues even back in the 360 era. It was started getting broken around that time. It's when I started noticing a change in that generation.
Yep.
And at that point, it just got worse and worse and worse and worse, and here we are today, and it is blatantly so bad out there with big games media, and like, but you can't call it out because you know the same reason you can't call out when game companies raise their prices, or you can't call out when anything bad happens or whatever. Just all of a sudden you're just you know have an agenda, or you're just you know fanboy or whatever. So if they want things to stay the same, they can just consume that bullshit all they want to, and we'll just know better when we're seeing the stuff and be able to kind of see through it, I guess.
I mean, most of the media is PlayStation, so until that flips, then that's the only time you'll see a change.
Yeah. So. That's true. Kate, in the chat, user membership message said, a 3-bit delay equals no time to discuss Hereditary tonight. Yeah, we were a little bit behind because first off me, but then second off 3-bit was having mic issues. That's why he sounds like shit tonight, guys, because he's not using his good mic. Yep. He's using his webcam mic. But
yeah, I don't know why it's not working.
It is what it is. So what do y'all want to start with? You want to start with Loki, or want to get into the Marvels?
I feel like Loki's going to be the exciting thing because we can't really talk too much about Marvels.
Right. So with me and 3-bit talk a little bit about Marvels. Maybe you, Psycho, can ask us a little bit of questions here when we'll try not to spoil things.
Oh yeah, maybe Psycho, you can ask us some questions, but we'll try not to spoil. So we're starting with Loki.
No, we're starting with Marvels. It's
with Marvels,
you just completely missed the boat there.
Okay.
Yeah. So when did you see it? You saw it the day it came out, or the next day, or whatever?
I saw it a couple of days ago. Wait, I seen it on Friday, last Friday, actually. I liked it. I actually liked it. What I liked about it was the team chemistry between the three of them. It was just a fun movie. If you try to take it seriously, like, this is not Inception, this is not, it's not trying to be that
you compare
movie.
Everything to Inception, like it's
Yeah, I freaking love Inception. Yeah. That's like my top. It wasn't trying to be that movie. I just liked how, first off, my favorite character was probably Miss Marvel. I think her and her family was just funny to me. I was like cracking up.
Did this feel in some ways more like a Miss Marvel movie than a Captain Marvel movie?
Yeah, it actually did. It felt more like that. I guess because her family was in it and they were pretty heavily.
Really? Because from what I got, I haven't watched it obviously, but from what I gathered from all the trailers and stuff, it felt more like a Monica Rambeau story.
No,
it was more Miss Marvel.
She was for me. She was She was kind of the third wheel in it.
Yeah, she was the third. It was. If I had to pick like who was featured the most out of the three, it's probably Miss Marvel was 1, and then Captain Marvel was 2, and she was probably 3. But they tried to balance it towards the end, I would say.
Do you think it's because Miss Marvel had the most character growth also in this movie?
Yeah, she had a lot to do. I feel like that's why she had a lot to kind of. Yeah, it's hard to.
It was like it's almost like the way where I'm going with that is almost like a growing up moment for her, kind of like you kind of see that progress through the movie.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about with the. Okay.
Yeah.
like from I watched the end credit scene.
Yeah, we
just
got
now.
to make sure we don't say what that is.
And
There's
I
two of them, by the
can't
way.
believe.
Do you just see it now?
No. Yeah, I just watched it. Yeah, interesting how they're setting that up. And
there's
and
y'all
the
are
other
also
part,
missing some context with that. It's very important, like what happens in the movie.
Yeah.
Like, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like I understand, like it's important what happens to the movie, but like I also get the implications of what's happening in the scene and what that means for the future.
Yeah.
So it's like
for sure, right?
Yeah.
But like,
but there's a reason why that happened.
I
in the movie.
do feel like if you just saw that there without seeing the movie, you'd be like, that is stupid how they did that, right? But like,
which are we talking about? The Miss
I'm
Marvel, the
Marvel, not Lambo.
Okay,
Marvel.
Rambo.
Rambo, Monica Rambo.
So yeah, so Miss Marvel, I felt like we'll talk. We'll leave out the end credit stuff.
Yeah.
Because like it's just gonna be too hard. Not
It's
to
just
spoil.
interesting.
Yeah. We'll talk about this at some point after more people have had a chance to see it. But honestly, I don't think a lot of people are seeing it because like it is
a lot
really
of people decided not to see it. So.
I'm waiting for Disney Plus.
it is
so, like,
and that's the thing. A lot of people are. It is like had the worst ever for Marvel box office returns. Not for Marvel period, but MCU, right? And I honestly think it's like worth more than that. Like I definitely wouldn't put it at the bottom of the MCU movies.
Yeah, and the thing that kind of bites Disney in the ass is that people will, if they're not 100% into whatever movie that's coming out, they're gonna wait for Disney Plus. As in the past, there was no Disney Plus at the time, so the only way to watch the Marvel movies was going to the theater.
Even
so
still, I've rented that shit. Like, I don't care about Black Panther. I always waited till it came to DVD to rent it.
Yeah, well, you're like the 1% out of the 99% of people that actually
because
watch.
Like if I don't care about the movie, like I'll just go watch like breakdowns of it. So like I kind of know what's happened.
Right.
Like,
well, see, like prior to Disney Plus, like after watching the second Thor, I was like, I don't know if I want to watch. Like, I didn't go watch Ragnarok at the theater. I waited for Disney Plus because Dark Worlds was just horrible. But what I'm trying to say is that prior to Disney Plus, the people went to see the movies, good or bad, just to see what's setting up for the future of what they're trying to show. Because people like to see, what end credit scene is this? What's it setting up? Okay, here we go. And but now with Disney Plus, knowing that 45 days after it releases on in theaters, that it comes to Disney Plus or something.
I think it's like 45 days.
For me, if
45 days.
If I'm more free, I'm more likely to see a Marvel movie than most other movies in the theater.
But there haven't been good movies, so it's like I'm not wasting my money.
To me, it all depends on the character, or if I know something's going to be in the movie that's a major impact in the entire universe.
Yeah,
that's the only reason.
Which, without spoilers, this movie has. Well, here's the thing: does it or does it not? Right now, they lead,
I think one of them is not going to be as important. I think it's going to be like, look, here's this, and then it's going to be like, oh, okay, we never mentioned that again.
I don't know. I think they're going to mention that again.
I think they'll mention it again in Secret Wars, and that's it. And I think it's like, oh, that was cool.
No,
I
think potentially it's setting up events in maybe Deadpool 3, or potentially like another movie that has some things in it down the line, right?
The Miss Marvel one is more important, I think, overall.
Yeah, I think the other one was setting up the next saga. I don't think we're going to get much of anything in this future, in this multiverse saga. I don't think we're gonna get much of what we want. But next saga,
I feel like they're setting up like Young Avengers and stuff like that. So I feel like there will be.
yeah, but that's for this saga.
You're talking about the saga, like you're talking about the next phase.
I mean,
I'm
they've already announced that they're doing like Young Avengers stuff, right? So like we're not, but like we're not going to say what happened in this movie, but like overall, I feel like yes, this obviously does set up potentially things for that, right? But like Miss Marvel, like just as a movie, right? I just want to focus on this as a movie without going too far about what everything means, because like we're getting majorly into too much spoiler territory with this shit, right? Like I feel like this movie just inherently, like, she ended up becoming the star of it, not Captain Marvel, right? Do you feel the same way, 3-bit?
Yeah, I feel the same way.
And that could have been,
but there were moments in Captain Marvel where I did resonate because people said she was like non-emotionless, whatever. I felt like she actually had some character moments in here as well.
She did, for sure. I felt like Monica Rambeau's character gained more importance like later in the movie.
Yeah, I felt like she wasn't utilized to like later.
For most of the movie, it was kind of like she was just there as kind of part of this, and they even maybe weren't focusing as much on her character in certain scenes like the other two. But then at the end, her character became way more impactful, right? Oh. And I think that may have been a tool to set some other things up, right? But in the main movie, it felt like more of a Miss Marvel, Captain Marvel thing, right? And it felt more like their movie with the side story of Monica
this movie did feel like a side mission. And it felt very short for me. Did it feel short for you? Like I felt like wow, it's over already? Like it felt very quick.
It was going to be like so short. It's like the shortest MCU movie. So I was expecting that, but honestly it didn't feel as short as I thought it would, because of all the big deal that had been made about how short it was.
Oh, okay. I didn't see that going in.
There was headlines and people talking about this is the shortest MCU movie. Like,
what was her run?
It breaks the MCU record for being the shortest or whatever is what all these headlines were and stuff. I was like, oh, okay. And that kind of led up for the negativity towards launch of this movie. And it wasn't until the last trailer dropped that maybe some people got excited for it, right? And like this movie's
because they weren't allowed to really promote it because of the strikes,
right?
Stuff like
that too. Like they couldn't go on talk shows and talk about it, do all their normal media stuff and all that. They weren't really able to sell it too much, so like it really had less marketing than most Marvel movies as well. And
also, Captain Marvel just has a stigma among people where they don't like that character.
Yeah, I think they may like her more though after this movie. Do you think so, 3-bit?
If they watch it,
Miss Marvel or Captain Marvel?
Captain Marvel, the blonde.
Yeah, Captain Marvel.
I think
Captain Marvel.
I think she may win some people back over after this movie.
I think so, but it's hard to say because people are so hamstrung. Like I don't like her character for so long. But for the people who watched it, I feel like they're like, oh, okay. Like she has like some pretty interesting. It's hard to not spoil things. She has some moments in here that people can, I guess, relate to because of her movie. One thing I will say is this movie does reference Captain Marvel quite a bit.
Do you think? Because I think there's a lot of. I wasn't as big of a comic guy, obviously, like you guys know, right? But like, I feel like when I was watching this, I kept asking myself, "Is this a throwback to the comics?" Because there was a lot of scenes where I was like, "Do they reference this in the comics?" You know what I mean? Like, there's one place that she went to, right? That was like really different. And I was like, is there some history to this, right? You know where I'm talking about, I think 3-bit, right? Like,
maybe I haven't really read her comics as much, especially because there's so many different Captain Marvels. Like there was a guy Captain Marvel. There's like I don't know. I got lost in the sauce for a bit, but It could be. It could be.
Yeah,
No.
I feel like there was some things in this that were references, but like I wouldn't know for sure. You know what I mean?
Well, they did make a lot of references to Captain Marvel. Did you catch a lot of those? Like there were like moments. How do you not spoil things?
I don't.
There were moments in they kind of was talking about like her. There's moments in the first movie that they were kind of referencing. Do you remember the first movie
Well,
as
you can
much?
spoil stuff from the first movie.
Okay, well they're in the first movie when they were like flight, where she was like a pilot.
Yeah.
They kind of talked a little bit about that, and it was like flashes to that, and then like how she like left, stuff like
Yeah,
that.
there's theories around that Monica Rambeau is actually like more important than, I can't say it without spoiling it, but there's like she has more impact than people realize.
That's for damn sure.
Yeah,
I will
yeah,
say like that's for damn sure. Like overall, I will say that Marvel's like the movie, like it did have some of that cheese in it, you know, that you kind of expect, right? Um,
yep.
it had some. I think that like Nick Fury's character was almost kind of pointless in this movie too. Like,
Yeah, I don't think he needed to be in it,
yeah,
but
it felt more of like a he's just there to be Nick Fury in it. You know what I mean? But like
yeah,
it was
you do the
so
test of if you
yeah.
take out a character and it doesn't impact the story very much, then you didn't need him. That's kind of the test you can do.
It
Right.
was it was just a character to have in there to sell tickets.
Well, also like there's stuff that happens between Miss Marvel and Nick Fury that is kind of, they're getting rid of Nick Fury. I'll just say that.
I mean, he's been in Marvel for quite some time. I'm sure Samuel would be like, I'm tired.
Yeah.
He's been in the movies since the first
I
Avengers movie.
I don't think they're
Or
gonna.
since
I don't
Iron
think
Man.
they're getting rid of Nick Fury. I think that he's going to be
No.
back. But like maybe less.
I would say
Yeah.
less, but like they're gonna slowly kind of like wean him out of the MCU is like
Right.
what I mean.
Sure. I mean, and for the people who are wondering about, if you're wondering about the next phase of Marvel, where it's going, then I would watch this.
Yeah.
That's just me. I feel like it had enough where you're like, it very much was a side mission movie. Like there wasn't like huge ramifications,
Until the end.
kind of until the end.
Right.
Then it would kind of, I was like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, shoot. So but I thought it was a fun movie. Like if you go in with like these expectations, like is it going to be Winter Soldier or
Yeah.
Endgame? No, it's not going to be that movie. But if
It's
you go
kind
in,
of
just
what you expect, but a better version of what you expected.
yes, I expect this
You
movie.
know what I mean? 3-bit. Like,
Yeah.
Like the movie is what I expected, but it was better it was a better version of it than I expected. You know, like
Yeah, so I thought it'd just be okay. I thought I'd have a good time with it, and then it surprised me in certain aspects.
Yeah.
So yeah,
and definitely, I don't regret going to see it. I thought it was a good time. I thought some of it was a little corny, but I also liked where the story went at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Like because here's the thing too, right? Like
I didn't care for the villain.
Yeah,
I will say
the
that.
villain was a weak ass villain, right? I'll
Yeah,
say
that was a weak
the villain. This was a throwaway villain.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't even know what her name is.
I couldn't tell you her name either.
I couldn't
But
tell
like
you.
it's a throwaway villain, right?
Yeah.
I feel like, you know what I mean. I mean they may be back. I don't know, like you know, but like I feel like this is like we're gonna pick somebody to use for this movie that doesn't.
The
seem
villain
like,
was only there to grow the characters. It's like
exactly. Like,
yeah, it was.
But in this regard, though, that benefited the characters because the stars of the show was the three main characters, right? Especially the other two, and then later in the movie, towards the end, you know, Monica Rambeau. But there's also a really good story going between Monica and Captain Marvel and all this kind of stuff too. That had this kind of side story going between their relationship and all that kind of stuff, also, right? That I felt like,
Yep.
that had a decent and pretty good payoff towards the end as well, you know. So
yeah, they're kind of. I think that was the strongest bit of the film, and maybe that's how what they tried to do was their relationship between the Miss Marvel and Captain Rambeau and Captain Marvel, whatever, was pretty good. I mean, they had some banter and stuff, and how Miss Marvel, this is not a spoiler, but Miss Marvel is a huge fan of Captain Marvel, right? So that was like a moment in the film, like whoa. So, that's a kind of a plot within this film, like how she handles that with her being there, and Captain Marvel. Dang, it's hard to not spoil it, but I thought that the relationship between the three of them was interwoven pretty well, and that was my favorite part of the movie, just seeing that over time and like them not really knowing each other to towards the end where they are like fighting with each other. That was my favorite part of the film. I would say my least favorite part was probably the villain. I didn't care for her, didn't care about her motivation. What was her motivation? I don't really know. That was probably the weakest part. If I had to pick like something, I was like,
they did some interesting things here in the movie that made sense for them to try and like balance out the characters too, right? Because like obviously Captain Marvel is like OP compared to the other two. You know what I mean? But with what was going on in the movie, like, y'all seen the trailers, right? Where they like teleport between each other and all that kind of stuff, right? Like, so like they play on this kind of thing, and it really helps the balance of the characters to where it's not just like Captain Marvel and then like you have these other two characters just worthless. You know what I mean? So it's like they're able to play on that really well, which actually led to like this feeling like a team. Right? It felt like a team, like another little side team within Marvel. And it also, I think they had awesome fight scenes.
Yeah.
Especially
the teleportation.
Surprisingly, Miss Marvel, dude.
Yeah.
She was
pretty freaking cool.
She was kicking some ass in this movie.
Yeah, all three there, like, especially Miss Marvel, like the way they use their powers was pretty creative. Like Captain Rambeau can like go through objects and stuff, so she was using that in her combat, which is pretty cool. And then like Miss Marvel, like all their powers are pretty light based and unique and etc. But then you have the bit where like, okay, their powers are unique, but they also are teleporting. So that just created some interesting like action sequences. Like I completely
they did really cool stuff with the story there too, like with that. So overall, what would you give the Marvels?
Just judging it for what it is, not what it isn't, like most Starfield people. I thought it was decent. It had great effects, good story. I'll give it like a 7.5.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah,
I'm right there with you.
I think 8 would be too high, but because it wasn't out. Like I would put some Marvel movies I really like at an 8, but and it wasn't terrible. I thought it was like a 7.
I was expecting it to be a 6.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I actually kind of enjoyed it. Like it was a fun movie to watch, and like it felt good to watch an MCU movie that you feel like may mean something again. So like that was a good payoff finally. But yeah, any more questions from Jasper or Psycho for us about the movie before we move on, or from the chat?
No.
Okay.
Because my questions were going to be
to get to
spoiler territory.
Should
we have a spoiler cast? Or no?
We can talk a little bit after the show, a little bit if you want.
Okay.
All right, so I did see a chat where, oh god, who was it?
A couple bleeps.
I think I got Soul had asked something, and I'm trying to find the question again.
Ask it again if you're in here.
Well, one of his questions was, do you think we get Champions, Young Avengers, or a mix of those teams? Is that what you're asking?
Okay, yeah, that was the question. Okay, yes. Young Avengers. I think.
Yeah.
I
Wow.
think.
I feel like we'll get Young Avengers.
Yeah,
It probably won't be everybody from the Young Avengers. It depends on when they do the Young Avengers. Also, like of who they want to start introducing.
Oh, we're gonna see Scar. We're gonna see Kate Bishop.
Well, you already know 3 of the characters.
Yeah, but there's and the Young Avengers. It also depends on which Young Avengers they do. If they're gonna put Spider-Man on the team, that'll be kind of cool to see. Like Spider-Man interact with Kate Bishop,
Yeah.
and then
Well, they don't know who Spider-Man is anymore, so
Yeah.
that's the.
And see, the thing is, I think Spider-Man now, like, I think he could have worked for the Young Avengers if before the reset.
He's like,
but now he's getting older.
Yeah, and he's
he's more
been through
experienced
too
and
much,
stuff.
you know.
Yeah, he's already has too much experience in him to be like you have to be a leader if anything. And
yeah,
he should be the leader.
Yeah, that's what Spider-Man is.
And the problem also with Spider-Man is
Mhm.
once you take him out in New York, it's like really hard to do shit with him. Like, I mean,
swing on the cloud. Yeah, it's pretty hard. But if Sony, I feel like they're just wary about using Spider-Man just because of Sony and not wanting to grow that character so well that they're just propping up Sony to be like, well, we want to do our own thing, you know.
Yeah.
Hey,
how about this? At the end of the show, we'll have a little spoiler segment. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Let's do a spoiler section.
Yeah, we'll just a little at the end of the show. We'll do a little spoiler segment. Okay. I like your idea, Alvin. I just don't want to do it in the middle of the show because if people are listening after the fact on like audio or anything like that, they'll be like, "Damn it, what am I supposed to do right now?" You know what I mean?
They're like driving the car, like,
shit, I can turn this off. You know, so we'll do it. You know, without warning people way ahead of time. Like this, what the entire
without
show
warning,
is about.
We'll just jump into spoilers.
Right? Yeah. So we'll do that at the end of the show, just a little bit.
Scar has relations with Monica Rambeau, so spoiler.
That's interesting. Okay.
Is that a thing?
I don't know.
That's kind of weird.
That's like the
Beauty and the Beast sort of thing.
That's the post-credit.
Psycho watched a different Miss Marvel.
I think he was.
I think you got the wrong DVD.
They weren't fighting nobody evil in the version I was fighting.
Yeah, I guess so. So let's get into some Loki stuff now. Like Loki, I'll tell y'all right now. Like this is gonna be too much to not get into spoilery stuff because like we watched both seasons. Everybody's had a chance to watch Disney Plus now over a week,
and the final show's been out like over a week now. I think almost right. So
I can't believe Loki's dead.
No. So Loki season 2. Yeah, there will be spoilers for this, and then we'll get into the Ms. Marvel stuff after. Okay, so from here on out, a lot of spoilery stuff, right? But
after you just the person driving the car like, great, there's no spoilers.
Focus on Loki now, no Ms. Marvel spoilers till later. Everybody like that really cared would have had a chance to watch Loki.
Yeah, TV shows are easier to get than like movies for most people. I feel like so.
Yeah, for sure.
So no, I get you, Dion. I mean, people get weird about this stuff, man. You have no idea, like the amount of people that like absolutely lose their shit if we spoil something. But here on out, spoilers for Loki, and then we'll end with some talk about that thing at the end with Ms. Marvel. Okay, so Loki season 2. I've seen a lot of talk, and I want y'all's thoughts on this. That this is maybe one of the best things that Marvel has done, period.
I still like the first season better, just because I feel like the first 4 episodes of the show didn't fucking matter.
I disagree.
Yeah, I disagree with that too. Oh,
but for me, I kind of get what you're talking about, Jasper. But like, not everything has to. It could be character build up moments. For me, that was enough because before I watched Loki, I did not care about his character. Like season 1 and 2, like I'm just like, okay, they're making a show about Loki, good. Like I didn't really care about his character. I'm like, before I watched the show, then when I watched season 1, season 2, it's like one of my favorite Marvel shows out there. If I was to take away Daredevil and Punisher, because I love those shows, that's the Netflix sort of shows. If I were to say like, okay, that's separate, it's my top Marvel TV show, and possibly even up there with my top Marvel properties in general, like MCU movies.
I've
Like
seen some people saying that Loki is Marvel's best character.
now that I've watched season 1 and 2, I feel like it had a very good arc from beginning. If you decide to binge
Yeah, everything
from
with Loki
Avengers
in
to
it.
now,
Yeah, the
such a
character
good
development.
Yeah, I
arc.
think Loki's like they made Loki a more important character to the overall universe. But just speaking on like the season 2 show itself, I feel like the season 2 show was like I don't know. I just thought it was like kind of weaker, like at least the first 4 episodes and at least season 1. Because right now, like for season 1, I loved Sylvie in season 1, and season 2, I feel like they just completely fucked her character.
Yeah, I do not like her in season. I would say that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't like her,
I
but
agree with
that wasn't detriment to me. It didn't like drop points for me because he wasn't really the main character. But
Well, see,
I feel that.
like the first 4 episodes before watching the end, I can see like it was good. But
Yeah.
the reason is that knowing you have to look at it is that it made him choose his outcome without.
Yeah, I
so
get
if,
that.
if
It's just like he eventually would have got there anyway.
Yeah, but
And he kind of went through all of it again in the was it the last episode? He went through the first 4 episodes again, and the last episode just quicker. So it's like,
but at but where I'm
He
getting
went
with
through a
that,
century
Jasper, is
worth.
like as a viewer, none of that would have meant anything unless we got those first 4 episodes. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, and that's where I'm saying it just kind of to me it kind of took away from the first 4 episodes just because like they kind of summed it all up in fucking 15 minutes. It's like, oh, I wasted 5 hours watching 4 episodes when you
yeah.
summed it up in 15 fucking minutes. I don't know.
I
It's
kind
like,
of took it as like we kind of learned along with him, like everything. We were like along for the journey, and then he finally got it. And
Yeah,
then we,
which happens
you
with
know what I
like
mean?
time travel movies. Like the thing about time travel movies is like you have to kind of know a
Yeah.
basis, or like groundhog movies. Like that happens in like groundhog movies. You see the same thing over and over, but they learn from seeing the same thing over and over. And if you don't like those, then yeah, I understand. But
you
like
usually
for
don't.
me, I thought it had an impact because like, oh, you've seen this thing over and over, but now he's kind of progressed as a character to kind of be less selfish and
Yeah.
make
So
that decision.
just to cut to the chase, because of the spoilers, like what happens here, like at the end of the movie, he figured out how to
show. Yeah.
Sorry, yeah, show. It felt like a movie. He learned how to control his time slipping and all that kind of stuff, and he kept doing it, and still he got to roadblock at the end, and he had to end up making a difficult choice, right? And he learned a lesson there that no matter what happened, he was going to
Either kill the entire universe or kill Sylvie.
or be or
And then he chose the third option.
right, which is to punish himself.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Well, see, so the thing that is that with at least with when he found out that what the loom meant and what its purpose was, that's when he actually sat and was like, I know what to do now, because no matter what I have been doing, because he went through a century of trying to figure this out, worth of time, and seeing having that conversation with Kang and realizing that regardless of what he could have done differently, what he could have learned, the purpose of that loom was what it was. So he couldn't stop that from happening. So from that aspect, he kind of like on the fly kind of sat there and was like, now the only option I have was kill Sylvie, and then he like I think he had an epiphany at that point where he kind of time skipped back into where they were going to try to stop the loom, where he ran and down the took over for King instead.
Yeah.
I think that
Well,
he knew at that moment.
he
He
learned-
chose
got his
the option
throne.
to keep Sylvia alive because that's who he loves,
See,
and he wants her to.
I don't maybe, but I don't even know if it was all about just her, but yeah, but just what she
Well,
had,
and his friends.
what she had told him was about we deserve a chance, right? And that's what he when he did he jumped back in time a couple times to have specific conversations, right? And one was she was like, "So you're gonna have to kill me then, I guess, right, or whatever." And she was like, people deserve a chance, right?" And then he went and talked to Mobius, right? And then Mobius is like, "It's a burden, no matter what you do. You just have to choose which burden you're going to choose, right?" So his burden is either going to punish Sylvie, and punishing Sylvie, it's also keeping the status quo of what He Who Remains had built, which is also extinguishing timelines, right? To have that failsafe in place, which is also it's
killing thousands of people.
It's not allowing free will, right? And chaos to ensue. So he chose free will, right? Knowing that it's the most dangerous path, but giving people a chance instead of deciding to erase. It's the typical plot line kind of in a lot of these movies. Like, okay, do we like destroy all this stuff to maintain? Like, okay, you can look at Thanos the same way. He was trying to preserve life by snapping half the universe out, right? So yeah, if he doesn't, yeah, maybe things get worse for everybody. But you take away that free will from people, that's the typical concept in a lot of movies where it's like free will is always the right way. You don't want to dictate,
And it also, like, Loki kind of got what he wanted to where he's not the evil god or the god of mischief anymore. Like, he's actually a good god, but he realized that he's going to have to suffer forever to become what he always wanted to change and what people wanted to see as him.
Well, he always said he wants to be on the throne. It's kind of like, that's why I kind of like the cyclical thing. It's like from beginning of Loki's journey to now, he always talked about how he wanted to sit on the throne and be that god, and he got what he kind of was saying in the beginning, but not in probably the way he thought it would. But yeah, that's a good point, Matt. I didn't think about it like that. Where
it's also chaos ensues with free will, also, right? Like, and like he's kind of like the god of mischief. He's got it like kind of like chaos and like, and I feel like this. I know people refer to the comics and say he's the god of stories or whatever, right?
Yeah, he's a god of stories.
But they refer to him now as God Loki, I guess is what they're referring to the character. But I feel like ultimately his role there is to just keep an eye on things, but like allow things to flow naturally. But I wonder if he can intervene in any way with Kang in the future, right? Because what he's potentially unleashed now, will be bad, because that's what he was afraid of from the start.
Look, he can always drop a strand, I guess, and be like, we're not going to let that timeline exist.
Right.
Like,
and then
whoops.
he's, erasing that, and he's erasing that, which was what
he's now the controlling of all the timelines.
But that's what He Who Remains was doing.
Yeah.
Right? He just had them all shut out. Right? Those timelines aren't allowed, So it's going to be
I've also seen
crazy.
some interesting theories that, like, that's why the time stone is green in this universe, is because Loki is at the center of the time stone.
Yeah, he's at the end of time. There is no time where he is, so it could be the beginning.
Yeah,
that's why it's green. Yeah,
the fact that he's able, like, he kind of was able to inherit powers that even Kang can't do, like skipping time. Like, Kang needed a device to still skip through time. Like a lot of people have to use devices.
Yeah, he was like, "How do we know
everything
this
to
is not
go
the
through
first time we've had this conversation?" And he's
and
like, "You don't."
Loki was able to do it on his own with his abilities. So it's definitely a
What was he
character
though?
development
Like
that we.
because I feel like He Who Remains was like, how do you think you were able to do that?
Yeah,
Oh
I
yeah,
feel like
true.
I feel like
Yeah.
Kang kind of already went through all that stuff, but he just is like he's already been through it a billion times. It's like I've already
But
seen
I don't think
everything.
he
So I don't.
predicted Loki would do that. So that's
Yeah,
where.
I don't think. Yeah, he did not predict this because he
Or this was his
predicted that.
plan all along was to get Loki tangled up in controlling time. Now that Kang can go be free and actually start the conquest
That's
because he
true.
doesn't have to watch over
Yeah.
time anymore. Maybe Kang's still a mastermind at the end of the day.
Could be.
Could be.
The
Yeah.
one thing that's been interesting about and I think I heard this, I forget which show, or if it was in Loki or if it was in Ant-Man, but they said that basically what he does, it was in Loki, is that he's a user. That's his basic skill and ability, Kang, right? Is to use people. Like he doesn't do anything himself, right? He is smart and stuff, but like
He's very smart.
he's able to manipulate and get people to do things that allows him to become more powerful. Right? That's his greatest strength. And that's what has gotten him into this position. And he did that all the time. And you even saw you saw the root of it with Victor Timely's character in this, like the very basis of that. He's still using people, manipulating them, and all these things like for his own gain, because he doesn't have like the full knowledge yet. He doesn't have this. He doesn't understand all these things, and like he keeps using people and using people. He used Renslayer. He used Miss Minutes. He used Loki.
I mean, he used the TVA.
He used the TVA.
Yeah.
He's
In the comics, he manipulated a younger version of himself, which he kind of did also in
Yeah.
the show. So yeah,
that's what he is. That's his ultimate character trait.
See, I'm wondering now that like maybe this is the Kang, like that's the main Kang that's been in front of us all along is the one from Loki, and now that he's freed up from having to watch over the fucking timeline, now he can actually go join all the other Kangs that was in that arena and be like,
he's still
it's
dead
time.
though.
Yeah. But is that
Unless
I was just
He's
thinking
not- he's-
I missed something.
Is he?
that
Yeah, he's
that trait also was in Ant-Man Quantumania because like he used Michelle Pfeiffer's character, the old Wasp, right? To fix his machine. Right? So he became friends with her, used her for that, you know. He used MODOK. You know,
oh yeah, he did use
he used he kidnapped the Ant-Man and his daughter and stuff, and used his fear of her dying to get Ant-Man to cooperate. He's using Bill Murray's character, there as well now, like in Ant-Man Quantumania as well, like where they used to be enemies, like he's found a way to use him to like that's his ultimate character trait, and I feel like that's going to be the core root of each Kang, because like you notice how like each character has their own kind of essence, right? All the Kangs are probably have some kind of core aspect to this.
Yeah,
them.
you just have to find that one Kang that's using all the other Kangs, and that's your main Kang.
Right. And who is
That's
that? Is that
real
He Who
Kang.
Remains? Because they also
It could be.
something that happened. Okay, so there was a little bit of a bookend, possibly, to the Ant-Man and Quantumania Kang, right? Because in Loki, at the end, they made a reference to the 616 variant being dealt with. There was a little bit of an uprise with the 616 variant, but they took care of him. So that little footnote at the end of Loki season 2 bookended that King the Conqueror from Ant-Man Quantumania, right? Like no longer an issue. So it's either He Who Remains, which is. Did we see him die?
But that's the thing with
Like,
time is
Mhm.
like
I don't remember seeing him die.
like because Loki would have jumped back to when the loom was destroying. So theoretically, Sylvie would have
It
still
already
killed him.
happened. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's also you're dealing with time, so who knows how he could have just jumped out like before she killed him, and
But then
if he,
the
if
the
he could time, if
loom,
he could have jumped out, like that's the thing. What you're dealing with time is like
Right.
but then the loom wouldn't have exploded then.
unless if Sylvie thought she killed him.
It's racking my brain trying to remember because like
Yeah, who's to say that he's not the one that did it all along and just allowed the loom to go haywire?
Yeah.
You know? To
I
get
don't
Loki
know.
to do what he wanted. Like, we didn't see, like, we know that in the timeline of where things happened, like, he should be dead, right?
Yeah.
But we still don't know.
But he also, it was
Yeah.
weird because he knew to expect, he like expected him to be there. You're like, oh, like when he paused time and then he was trying to like out time Loki for a bit, but Loki's like, "This, how do you know this is not the
Yeah.
first time we've had this
Well,
conversation?"
he can
And he was
obviously
like,
time
"Oh."
slip too. He could have, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but
Like,
he wanted to die because he wanted the other kings to
yeah.
kind of break through. It's so I don't know.
That
They could go a lot of different ways with it.
fucked with all this, right? Like,
Yeah,
You
'cause
deal with
what
time
if?
travel? That's the thing. You can jump from any point that you've ever
Yeah.
existed. So,
But aren't things still supposed to have happened? Like there's still that baseline of this still happens. Like that's why Black Widow can't come back in a way
I
because
think she can come back.
you think she can come back?
Yeah, because there's another I think a variant of her can come back. I mean, but even like the other Gamora, right?
Mhm.
That's just a Gamora from the
Another timeline
the
though.
past.
That other one's dead.
yeah.
But
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but they went into the quantum realm to bring.
But
her
that's what I'm
back.
saying, Biz. Like they could just have a king that was like an hour before he died,
Yeah.
and then
that other one is still.
he does his whole thing like for 100 years, and then he just jumps back to before he dies, and then he can die again.
Yeah.
And then the timeline would continue.
That would blow my brain if they do that. Well, I mean, they can do that, but they also have a million other kings they can choose from. So if I was them, I would just choose that.
I mean, you could go in the quantum realm and traverse time and go grab Black Widow and then bring her into the new timeline. You know what I mean? Like that's what they did with Gamora. Like she's not necessarily the same because she didn't live the same life, right? But like you're dealing with a lot longer of a time there between then and like Black Widow's demise, you know? So like she would still be inherently like an Avenger, you know what I mean? So it's like they could if they wanted to. Especially seeing at the TVA how they had all those Infinity Stones just laying around all over the damn place. You know what I mean? Like
in drawers.
And that's what makes a variant is like if they were to go get Black Widow like at the start of Iron Man 1 and just pick her up and be like, you're gonna work with us now, like she would become a variant Black Widow. Because she would have separated from the main timeline.
So why wasn't the TVA hunting time variant Gamora and Thanos when they crossed?
Because that was supposed to happen.
Because that was supposed to happen.
That's what I'm talking about. So there's certain things that's supposed to happen where they don't mess with that, and there's that main timeline
enforcing anything.
But now that the TVA is not pruning, they could go back and get Black Widow and keep that variant because the TVA wouldn't come and prune her.
True. And now the timelines aren't restricted anymore.
Yeah,
there's
no
this
prime
infinite
timeline. It's whatever happens
it's
is a new branch.
Dang.
Yeah, Erodimus says he who remains is supposed to be the smartest king. So.
Oh yeah, who said that?
Erodimus. So
okay.
Yeah, it's interesting, man. Like I don't know where this is gonna go. There's also a lot of rumors going on right now that we kind of plan to talk about Marvel maybe planning to move on from King because there's uncertainty going on with Jonathan Majors in a case right now with domestic like violence.
I think he got cleared on all that.
No, he's still not.
Well, the thing is, like, the trial hasn't happened yet, but his girlfriend had fled the country.
Yeah,
So
and she
it's
got
like,
arrested actually now.
oh, she did? Okay.
Yeah, so
So
she
they
was
caught her.
arrested,
Oh.
but also he they've been trying to get it thrown out and dismissed, but they refused to throw it out. Like because of some kind of evidence or something. Like I don't know. We're gonna find out what happens, but like they don't know if he's going to jail or not right now. You know what I mean? And so there's a court case pending, and
like the end of this month or something.
And also like they don't know like what's gonna come out from this trial and stuff with evidence and stuff, and like it's it's not a good look to have your villain actually be a villain. You know what I mean? Like but so
this seems more like a Johnny Depp Amber Heard thing where it's actually the woman who's the issue.
It does.
Yeah.
I agree 100%, but right now I just don't want to say for sure because
yeah,
until we see stuff, like I don't want to jump to conclusions on it, but like there was evidence that supposedly he showed that cleared him and stuff, and like people have come out on his behalf and stuff as well. But like
didn't look that good that she fled the country trying to
like,
run away.
What if there's a trial and they show a little video of him beating the shit out of her or something? You know what I mean? It's gonna be I'm gonna look like a real asshole right now if I say, oh, he's innocent. You know?
Didn't he just also like save someone's life or something like that?
Like
he was saving a
He stopped a fight between like some kids or something like that. Yeah.
We'll see.
Who knows, man? But like, but there is talk about that, and one of the rumors was that they were going to be potentially bringing on Dr. Doom.
Yeah,
already.
There's a couple rumors that like maybe people aren't liking the King timeline, so they may try to speed up X-Men or bring in Dr. Doom. So it's just like
I'm liking the King story, especially after Loki. Like I feel like it has a lot of potential.
Is
he who remains the best King so far? I mean, he is. Yeah.
Yeah,
well, it's really the only one that we've had.
Like, no, we've seen a couple.
I mean, we've seen a lot, but I'm saying it's like the one we've had the most time with. Like,
oh, true, yeah.
I feel like
what have we have so far? We've had the Ant-Man one,
and then this one, and then
this one,
the 300 one at the end of the stadium. But it's like
you've had glimpses of like the Egyptian one and like the like other crazy looking one and stuff. But like I do think it's not over yet. For sure, because at the end of Loki, also, Renslayer's scene. She is like on a old, like TVA gold like circle thing, right in the sand, and there's a pyramid in the background, right?
No, she's in where the Goliath is.
The what?
What?
Where the where so the whole season 1 where Loki was trying to find the end of time, and that's where he met up with the other Lokis. That's where she is. And
I thought she died.
Goliath to me consumed her.
Renslayer, didn't she just get like pruned?
Is that's
you don't die though when you get pruned?
Yeah, you get sent to that. Right. But here's where I'm going with that. There was a pyramid there, and we saw the Egyptian like pharaoh.
The heck? I do not remember this.
We saw the pharaoh Loki as one of the kings, right? So, did you see the pyramid in the background?
I don't remember this.
Yeah, Renslayer was laying on the ground, and like
it was like a jungly area, and then you saw like a pyramid in the background. And
and she was like laying on top, and she dusted off the ground, and there was like the gold like circle thing of the TVA
like circle
logo.
plaque.
And there's a clear pyramid in the background, and then at the very end, you see this like purple light come towards her, right? Which could be what you were saying, Psycho, the entity that was there, right? Or it could be the Goliath King, because that color scheme has also been kind of synonymous with Kang as well, right?
Yeah, but you hear the Goliath doing its screech right at the end, and she has like the look of fear and death in her eyes. So
well, they didn't show her die though. Like unless they still show somebody die, they're not dead. And even if they are,
even if they do,
that's what I'm saying.
I feel like that pyramid means something.
Well, that could have been the timeline where that king was pruned, and that they're that all of them are somewhere in some universe meeting up right now. They're all of them are together.
Right, but like also like in the comics and stuff, what I've learned as well is like Renslayer and King are like go hand in hand, right? So like if there's more to involve her
They're
character,
going steady.
well, there was even one thing where she was actually like called King as well, like as her character. So I'm not sure exactly like what all happened, but in the comics in the past, but I know that they go hand in hand and stuff. So like it wouldn't surprise
So
me if
you
they
think
involve
her story's not over?
her. I don't think her story's over, and I think that she's going to be maybe used as either he who remains general,
Kind of like
of his
what Loki
army,
had to do for Thanos.
yeah, or one of the other kings is general of an army, potentially, right? Like I feel like she's going to be used by a king.
Yeah.
The king is going to show up there where she's at her most desperate time of need, an hour, right? Like no other option. I'm stranded here, and he's going to use her, just like the king always uses everybody. Just like he used her before. Remember, like He Who Remains said that she was her general to
Oh yeah.
lead
Yeah.
to win the battle against the other kings and stuff, right? So he's already
Yeah.
been through this.
This is true. Yeah, I this is why I hope they continue the King storyline, just because of what they're kind of setting up here. I mean, you have a lot of people who currently don't have faith in the Marvel um the upcoming like storylines and stuff. They're like, I don't know where it's going. It's not going in any
Yeah.
direction, et cetera, et cetera. But I feel like with the multiverse storyline, it has a lot of potential with some of the branches they're putting up. There's a rumor that they're gonna do Eternals 2, for example. I wonder if that's
Yeah.
gonna be true.
I hope so.
I hope so too. That movie surprised me over time. I don't think I didn't hate it like most people when it first came out, but like I appreciate it was one of those movies that you appreciate kind of
Yeah.
over time. But yeah, they set up a lot with Loki. I feel like Loki so far in this phase is the most important story that they set up after post Endgame.
Yeah.
With the villain, with them setting up Kang, with the ramifications of him holding the entire universe literally in his hands. We'll see what they end up doing with it.
Yeah.
I do want a reunion at some point with this Loki with Thor. But we'll see.
Going back to the Renslayer thing, like I think that it could be that like because the kings are going to want to fight to be the ultimate king for power.
Yeah.
So I think that it's going to be another king that finds this Renslayer and uses her for secrets and like backstabbery on the prime king that we know of, King the Conqueror, from the Loki show, to kind of like backstab him so that this new king can take power over the king that we know.
Get other kings who are up to no good, try to kill the other kings.
Because I think that's going to be like the downfall of King is they all want power and they all can't have the ultimate power. So they're going to try to strike at that weakness, and the way to do that is to get someone that's been so close to another king that's already powerful, so you know his secrets.
Use that king, make sure he gets to a certain level, and then like keep him there, and then you take over.
Because Renslayer's probably pissed at the king that she knew because she feels betrayed by him.
Yeah, she does. That's why she was like mad at TiMMEH and stuff.
Yeah.
Because she felt like he used her and wasn't planning on coming back and stuff like that. So whatever future story they have with Renslayer and Kang, they're gonna have to go over the thing where she's like, I don't trust you kings, you're all the same. Whenever he's like, I saved you at your lowest point. How are this king's gonna I could have left you to die.
What if Renslayer becomes the new Conqueror?
The new Kang? That'd be pretty cool.
Because it's something we've
They're
learned
not
about
gonna-
all these kings is they kind of use technology for their like stuff, right? It's not like
Yeah.
a ability like the Ant-Man in Quantumania. He was useless without his suit and his ship, right? So,
Yeah.
like, what if she just like takes whatever king's like instead of doing his bidding is like a king goes to save her. She's like, "Fuck you, dude!" And just like I've been through this before, and like takes all of his shit and just is like, "I'm gonna do this myself," you know?
Yeah, and she puts on the glove and has the blue sort of mask like that's an Ant-Man. That'd be pretty cool. I wonder if they're gonna go that route. Well, I think if you think about that, you gotta think about what movies are coming up to see because I don't think they're gonna do a Loki season 3. This kind of feels like.
I mean, if they do a season 3, it's going to be with Sylvie and the fucking Obi and the fucking Carl, where the fuck his name is.
I think I saw something with talks about like potentially a movie focusing on Loki.
That could be pretty cool. They're still like they tied up quite a bit in season 2. Like if they don't touch Loki anymore, I'd be pretty happy with this story. I feel like it was a pretty good ending. But if they want to continue more, I'd like to see him still talk with Thor and stuff like that.
See, I think with Loki, I think you let him rest for like 5-6 years. He does this thing on the throne, and then like when you have a low moment in the MCU, then you bring back Loki. He's like, I'm done controlling.
Do you think he'll make a play in Secret Wars?
Well, he can clone himself. He can like make versions of himself, so maybe he could do that through the universe and really become the god of stories. Like we know that's a power of Loki is to kind of use copies of himself, but only as like a thing. But maybe this is like amplifying his power, so maybe he can send clones of himself to those individual strands. That's how I would do it. I mean, if he had to continuously just hold the throne forever, and no one else is going to hold that burden, Kang's not going to do it. I don't think he's like, oh, I'm free now. I don't think he wants to do it. So maybe Loki's way of still having that burden is he can still go through the timelines while maintaining holding it or something. I don't know.
ATL with the $5 super chat says, "Could the TVA be a show worth watching without Loki?" Hell no. No.
I wouldn't.
Owen Wilson's character Mobius was an awesome character too. I really liked his character. He made season 1. I feel like excellent.
Yep.
Season 2, he was still great in it. Like just awesome character. I hope he's back in some form or fashion at some point. Like they do that with some characters where they've been kind of side characters and kind of have them play this more of like as kind of like other role.
Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. type.
You know, they have like Darcy from like Thor, Thor universe. You know, they have like some of the agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and stuff like that will play into a lot of things at times and characters like that. So maybe, hopefully, he'll be back in some way.
And that's also before we end the Loki thing. The final scene, like when it's like showing him holding all the things and it like weaves into the tree. That's like, I think it's called like the Tree of Life or some shit within like.
They mentioned in Thor 1.
Yeah.
So it's like an eternal life, and that's kind of symbolizes that Loki's the one that's keeping life going together and stuff. So it's just kind of interesting.
Yeah, that's coming full circle. Like he's the most important god of all of them now, right? Like in a way, like
he always talked about how he wants to be on the throne throughout like Avengers, and that's why I liked it so much. It's like,
but
wow,
he didn't want to be alone, and that's his burden, right? So like he's sitting on a throne, but with no glory. It's all a burden, right? Like responsibility. All right, Psycho, you ready for the spoiler?
Yay.
For Miss Marvel.
There's 2 different ones for Miss Marvel.
Okay. So Miss Marvel time. Again, guys. Miss Marvel, first spoiler. Miss Marvel is recruiting the Young Avengers. And at the end, she recruits Kate Bishop as the first recruit.
And she mentions that Ant-Man has a daughter. So
yeah,
it seemed like they're going to go try to get her. And that's where I was saying that, like, I kind of see her as being the new Nick Fury because they pretty much just copied that scene from what was it, like Iron Man 1 or whatever, where Nick Fury comes in as like putting together a team. So it's like
I think they were just referencing that, but I think she's only that for the young.
She's a fan because she was a fan of Nick Fury, so she's trying to be like Nick Fury. Like, that's what I got out of it.
I don't think she's gonna do that with the grown up Avengers. I think she's just playing that role for the young Avengers.
But I'm just saying that, like, eventually Samuel L. Jackson is going to ask for way too much money, just to be like, "Fuck you, we're not paying you." So it's like, that's my point. Is like, and the young Avengers are going to grow up, so like, eventually she will be the new Nick Fury if they continue with her recruiting people. Like,
yeah, maybe I could see that.
Or maybe they'll have what's his face, Owen Wilson come in. Maybe he'll lead the young Avengers.
That'd be great. Okay, guys, I'm gonna need you to come with me, and we're gonna go kick some butt, everybody. It's a horrible impression, but
we're gonna go get some key lime pie. Wow,
wow.
Would you like to come sit and have a meeting over some pie? Some pie. Really ride some jet skis.
Wow, I need to get to the Avengers right now. No, that'd be kind of cool. But so who do we got so far that you guys are going to be in the Young Avengers? Do you think they'll add Spider-Man? I mean, he's in the comics, but
no.
I think he's too experienced,
and he's too big and too expensive for them to cast for.
That's so annoying, man.
So I think it's going to be
Ironheart.
Yes, 100%. Ironheart.
He was awful. I did not like her in Wakanda Forever.
Yeah, she'll be there.
Probably the Black Panther.
Oh, the new Black Panther? Or are you talking about...
You think so?
Yes.
Has it been enough time, maybe?
She's not experienced enough to be...
Yeah, but she's the fucking ruler of Wakanda, so it's kind of weird for her to just like step away and be like, I'm gonna go join the Young Avengers, guys.
I get what you're saying, Psycho. She is younger, but also she has so much more responsibility and a bigger mantle to uphold within like the. I think it would be like a slap in the face to a lot of fans. Like, okay, this new Black Panther is going to be in the Young Avengers. You know what I mean? Like,
unless they change the Wakanda being needing
Wakanda.
Wakanda. What Wakanda? What?
Yeah. Oh, Wakanda. Sorry. I think that they're going to change how the Black Panther is the one that oversees everything. I think they're going to give it to M'Baku and let him be the king.
Yeah, they kind of set that up a little bit for her to go off and do some things, right?
Correct. I think that's how it's. That's why I said what I said.
Yeah, I mean that does make some sense but I don't know, man. I
feel like they're going for a younger, like so far, like with. And the most of the people who they've chosen so far, I mean, they got high school and stuff.
But Kate Bishop was like, "I'm 23."
Yeah.
You know,
true,
like when she was like kids or whatever, and she's like, "I'm 23." Like, you know, so would Shuri be around that same age? I'm guessing. You know, probably.
Yeah,
probably
25. Young. You think she's older than Kate Bishop or younger?
I would say older. Like or
same
age.
They're probably going to go against, I guess, the Dark Avengers, right? You guys think?
Young Avengers
they're going to go against
adults.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
With
would make sense.
What's her name?
Evil Elaine,
Black Widow's sister,
the shitty Captain America.
John Walker,
and then
what's Black Widow's sister's
US
name?
Agent.
Yelena.
U.S. Agent. Yelena. So you think they'll go against Yelena?
The only thing is, like, doesn't Hawkeye kind of get to her and like not Hawkeye? Yeah, it was Hawkeye, right?
I was gonna say I think the Black Panther would be on the Young Avengers, or not Black Widow would be on the Young Avengers.
Yeah,
Yelena.
I think she would be better because I think she was already being manipulated by Evil Elaine, right? We kind of found that out there. Remember, she said she was hired to go kill Hawkeye or something. Or no, was she just on a revenge mission?
She was already. What was she already manipulated? And then
because
don't forget Echo.
They told her how to find him, right? is what she said. I think I could be wrong, but
Yeah, the girl with the glasses, the agent
yeah,
person.
and then she learned the truth from Hawkeye, right? So
Oh,
like,
okay. So she's already been.
Is she gonna still go back to evil Elaine? You know,
Probably not.
Double agent.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I don't know. I feel like Elena's character is the most up in the air. Could go either way right now. You know.
I don't think she'll be manipulated twice.
I mean, I think at a certain point, like if they're going to go up against the Dark Ventures, it's hard to get that team together because they have a lot of good-ish people.
Good
so I think
people.
Elaine
Yeah.
could be on the Dark Adventures just because they need people for that team. Because the girl at the end of Secret Invasion, where she has like every fucking power ever, like she's probably going to go Young Avengers.
Super Scroll.
What?
Yeah,
Oh,
Super
yeah.
Scroll.
Taskmaster.
That would be Dark Avengers.
Okay. So.
But then, like, Elaine wouldn't make sense.
Right.
Yeah. That's
So.
gonna be, I mean, good luck to them, whoever's writing.
It's
it's gonna be freaking hard.
You're gonna have like
It's
3
tricky.
people against 20.
Okay, so let's focus on the
Yeah.
Young Avengers first. Okay, so you got Miss Marvel, that's cemented, right?
Yep.
You got Kate Bishop, cemented, right?
Yep.
You probably got
That Hulk guy.
Ant-Man.
Ant-Man's
daughter.
what's her name? Such a
Katie?
not Kate.
Kate?
Is
Or-
it Kate
I
again?
feel like it's another Kate.
Is
Hold
it?
on.
What's Ant-Man's
Uh,
daughter? Is it name? Is it Haley?
Catherine.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Wait, what?
Is it Haley?
Ant-Man.
Ant-Man.
Cassandra Lang.
Cassie.
Cassie.
Yeah.
Yeah, Cassie. Calls her Cassie. Okay, thanks. All right. Cassie Lang. So there's 3. Okay, those are the 3 we pretty much know about. Okay. Hulk's son. Scar.
No one gives
Yeah.
a fuck about that dude.
They
They're going to
showed
to
him
erase
for
that.
a
from
reason,
existence.
though, right? Like,
No, they did. They
Yeah.
showed it because they thought it was cool. They're going to erase that fucker from existence, guarantee.
His hairstyle. Oh,
Oh.
they need to change that first.
both Alpha Whoop Pack said, "What's Gore's daughter's name?" Love.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
I was
Oh yeah. The
thinking about
Thor.
that, but
the
I
Thor
think
thing.
she's too powerful for the Young Avengers, and she's also going to try to grow with Thor.
Baby Avengers.
She is really. She is young. She is young.
But there's
The thing-
also from the Guardians of the Galaxy the girl that was running on the hamster wheel.
The Guardians team is going to be their own thing. I don't think they.
because she was on the new Guardians.
I think that you need to stick more towards like Earth-based people because I think that's kind of what the Young Avengers are going to try to do. Is going to come back to reality,
Well,
like with more Earth-focused characters.
in the comics, you had Billy and oh, what the fuck's his name? Scarlet Witch's 2 kids, Billy and whatever.
But they
were
don't
Young
exist,
Avengers.
right?
She let them
That
go.
we know of,
right?
Oh really?
Yeah,
I
think
actually don't remember.
because technically they were 2 soul shards from Mephisto.
Mhm.
So, me thinking when at the end of what multiverse, the Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, I think that red blurb was her phasing or being drawn into hell with Mephisto, and he's going to manipulate her to do whatever, but she's going to manipulate him to get her kids.
Yeah, I think that the Young Avengers is going to be more Earth defense team, and then your older people are going to be your cosmic and multiversal defense.
You can have like one kind of cosmic person, right?
Kids, Jasper.
Like, because if you get the girl that's in the Thor movie,
15.
she's pretty inexperienced, so
But
you
she's
could
also
use that.
super OP.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like, she still doesn't know how to use her power, so you can use that through the team dynamics. Like,
Yeah, but it would be weird for like Thor to adopt her. It's like, yeah, I killed your father, whatever, and I'm going to take you in and train you, and I'm just going to throw you off on fucking Earth. It would be
Yeah.
really weird. Just be
That's
like, fuck
true.
you, kids.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Well, good luck to the writers. This is going to be interesting. You trying to pick the next people. I feel like maybe what they could do is steal some X-Men characters or something. They're about to do X-Men, maybe. That's another thing for the Young
We're
Avengers.
about to get into that too. So, I'm trying to think. So, ATL in the chat said Isaiah Bradley's grandson.
Oh yeah, he's definitely gonna be a.
Yeah,
the
he was
young
supposed
Avenger.
to like get like super serum or some shit like Captain America, but I don't know if they ever touched on that. They just showed him like in the Captain America show for like a couple seconds.
Yeah.
So,
But didn't he got that inspirational talk from like his grandfather, and didn't he go in like the museum and he was like looking at Captain America? I can't remember.
maybe I don't know.
I can't remember everything that happened in the show. I feel like we may get an answer to that in the next Captain America movie.
Yeah, Brave New World or whatever it's called now.
Yeah, because isn't that like coming up next year now? Like,
Yeah, they delayed it. There's only one Marvel movie coming out next year. That's Deadpool.
oh, that's right.
Everything else is delayed till 2025.
Yeah.
So we get one Marvel movie next year.
Vic says, Jasper, remember that Thor's world is on Earth. Yeah.
Yeah, but Thor
True.
doesn't really hang out at Asgard. He kind of is like, fuck Asgard. I'm gonna go just fly around the universe.
He did for a long time though, drinking and hanging out like a slob there, right?
Pony Master 4000 was kicking his butt on Call of
Fortnite.
Duty, whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Fortnite.
So then he went and he kind of like was trying to find himself with the Guardians for a while and stuff, and then Thor's like back now, like he's found a new purpose, right?
And he's gonna have to fight Zeus because Zeus is coming back or whatever.
Yeah. So they'll set that
Yeah.
up. I don't think he'll want that fight to happen on Earth.
It
Yeah.
says Bold Alpha Wolfpack said their Avengers 1 had a Thor ripoff. So I don't know. We'll see what they end up doing.
So maybe he knows this fight's coming with Zeus, so he and Hercules, right? So he sends.
I don't think he. I think he still thinks Zeus is dead because we only know Zeus is alive because of the end credit scene. I don't think Thor
Right.
knows that.
But like he knows that Hercules is probably coming after. Like, so what if he like sends her off away somewhere else for safety?
While he fights or something.
Yeah.
He could do that. He also says Fat Thor was terrible. Thor is actually supposed to be fat, so I'm not even. I wasn't super whatever about it, but yeah. I mean,
Yeah, us
it is.
fat guys
He's
are way
supposed
more
to be fat.
powerful than we look. You know what I mean? Like,
Like you look up Thor, like the origin of Thor, he's actually a bigger guy. So,
yeah.
All right.
I mean, the Fat Thor had a lot in common. Like both like to hang out on the couch, they play video games, and you know, it's like hang out. It was
He's chilling,
just chilling. Hey, everything will
losing on Fortnite.
everything will work out.
The Thor storyline's hard because like
Yeah,
they've already done so much with that. It's probably going to go again more focused on what's her name, Jane or whatever.
yeah.
Oh yeah,
That
they
Thor,
brought
the
Jane
lady
back.
Thor. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, didn't she die?
Was she? Didn't she die?
I thought they saved her, didn't
I can't remember.
I thought she died at the end.
he? Didn't
I
he?
just
Didn't she
remember her.
get cured or whatever? I don't remember.
I literally can't remember either.
God, I
Did
need
she-
to rewatch the end of that movie now. Thanks, I can't remember what happened.
I just remember her being really sick and then her getting powers. But I can't remember what happened.
Did Love?
And
say-
someone in the chat tell us if she died.
She died?
She
Oh,
died.
okay.
Yeah, I think.
Oh, okay. Dang, we got her for one movie.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean anything in Marvel
Oh, that's
anyway, right? I
probably-
mean,
Yeah.
like,
She could be back.
So, okay, so Dark Avengers, John Walker has been recruited.
And that's
Taskmaster.
Taskmaster.
Taskmaster has been recruited.
And that's pretty much it that we know of. Right?
Kingpin, maybe?
Maybe they could bring back Spider-Man's villain. What's his name? Mysterio. Maybe.
Maybe Echo.
Well, I think Echo's going to be good.
So this
She's
is
kind of
something. This is going to be the first like rated like TiMMEH like thing. It's like they're going hardcore on Echo.
Yeah, the thing with Echo is like she's kind of a mixed character. Like she kind of does good and bad stuff, but
I forgot also though that show is like the first like Marvel Spotlight show, so it's not going to be tied in with the rest of the MCU. Like it's meant to be
is this they're
standalone
starting with this
story.
one?
Yeah, that's the Echo is going to be the first.
Oh, I thought it would start later. Okay.
Yeah. I forgot about that. Yeah. So maybe she's not going to be, or anybody from that world is going to be.
Yeah, which they don't necessarily have to do. They don't have to always tie things up.
Dude, if they fucking went and got Shane or whatever the fuck his name is, not Shane, Jonathan
Iron
Barnthal or
Man
whatever,
3 dude.
to be the fucking Punisher in the
Oh,
Dark Avengers.
Oh, that guy.
John Barenthal. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be sick. That would be sick. I actually hope they do that for Dark Avengers. Because I mean, hey, do it. But if you do that, then I feel like you got to bring in Daredevil. But then, like,
Well, there's a
I
new
don't know.
Daredevil show, so
Yeah, because
Yeah, and it's supposed to
Daredevil
be
and
like
Punisher are
20
always
episodes
fighting.
or some shit, right? It's supposed to be like a lot.
yeah, like they're
For
going
Daredevil?
they're going
Yeah.
big time on it. Like,
Ooh.
I think they're trying to set up this whole other, side, like Daredevil universe thing, and just really kind of grow that. Like they kind of already had been doing on Netflix before. I think they're gonna try and keep doing some of that here, but still try and tie it in a little bit more. Where before on Daredevil you saw references like on the newspaper, you saw the Battle of LA, right? But here you're gonna see more like maybe have some cameos and stuff.
Well, I mean, it's still connected because you had at the end of Kate Bishop, you had Kingpin, which was a Daredevil bad guy, and then Daredevil was in She-Hulk, and Daredevil was in Spider-Man. So like they're all connected still, but
yeah.
And for Dion Hayes, if I'm DC and I see the Marvel only has one movie coming out next year, I'll make a lot of great bangers for 24 and bring Superman. The thing is, like, I see a lot of people like discrediting Marvel. They're like, Marvel it's trash now. They don't know how to make good movies, whatever. And then you've had DC for the past 20 something years, like, be very inconsistent. They've made good movies.
I mean, DC hasn't made a good movie in like forever at this point.
Yeah. I mean, they're really good at making Batman moves. I would say that they're really good at making Batman movies.
The last
Every other
Batman movie was fucking Christian Bale.
No, I like the Robert Pattinson one.
No, that shit was ass, bro.
I like that one.
I liked it when I saw it at the theater, then I rewatched it. I was like, this is actually not as good as I remembered.
Really? Yeah. I seen it. I remember I seen it in the theater with. I didn't know what 4D movies was. I seen the Batman.
You sat like you're doing this shit the whole time, man. Fuck that, man.
And every time Batman got punched, you got punched. So I was like, the seat would just like go like that. Yeah, that was.
I saw a movie
intense.
like that once. I was like, I'm never gonna do this again. Like,
I didn't know that's what it was. I thought it was like maybe a little spray.
An amusement park, or if I go to like Universal Studios for something, yeah, cool. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to do that when I'm sitting there trying to actually watch a movie. You know, it had like spray in my face and shit. Like,
yeah, I was like, well, it was raining, and then almost the entire time because it's raining everywhere. You're just like, ugh.
Yeah,
your seat is moving.
But you can hear the spray coming out of the chairs, like.
Yeah, it's like
so stupid.
It's like, how long has that water been sitting there? Has it got fucking algae in it?
Yeah. By the end of the movie, you're just like.
Okay, so let's get to the big thing. Okay, the big spoiler, the big one.
Oh, honestly, I think this first one was the big one because I think this new one we're going to get into, I think it's just a way for them to tie in the Fox universe, and then they're going to be like, and it's tied in so we can have him in the Secret Wars.
Okay, so at the end of the Marvels, Monica Rambeau basically is able to go through a portal to an alternate universe, right? And she seals it shut behind her. Okay, she uses all of her power to do that. And the next thing we know in the mid-credits scene is that she awakens. And when she awakens, first thing you see is her mother back alive beside her on the bed. Instead of her watching her mother on the hospital bed, it's her mother watching her, but it's not her mother. It looks like her mother. Instead, it is Binary, who is, I guess, a mutant type character, because also with Binary is Beast from X-Men, and it's Kelsey Grammer's Beast. And cool. Kelsey Grammer's voice. And he says something like, we need to take her to see
Also, he
Professor
looks fucking
X.
terrible in this, by the way.
Really? I didn't think so.
I thought he looked Fox
awesome.
universe where he actually has real makeup on is so much better than this fucking CGI blue shit. It looks like a goddamn giant Smurf. Fuck that. Put makeup on him.
Right. So also Binary had Miss Marvel's gauntlets on. Another spoiler.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there's 2
Yep.
gauntlets.
Mhm.
Instead of just one. But Miss Marvel's gauntlets. Binary had Miss Marvel's gauntlets on. So
Yep.
that was pretty impactful.
I like
here.
gasped when I saw Beast. I was like,
Yeah, me too.
like, who is that? Like, oh.
I think being in the
So-
theater too and not knowing it's coming and instead of just like looking for it online is like it's a pretty cool fucking moment, man. Like you see
Yeah.
like you're not expecting it, you're like, holy shit, it's Beast, you know? There was 2 people in the theater and I was like literally like, oh shit, you know, to like I let it out like that. And what all this means, we don't know, right? We know that right now they're still using the Fox characters, right? So it could be setting up events from Deadpool 3. Maybe the events of Deadpool 3 take place in this universe. Hypothetically, right?
I think
I
that would
think they
make more
will.
sense.
Yeah.
Because I think, and what they're doing is they're making all these side universes so they can tie them into Secret Wars, and I'm afraid that that's just going to be like a small thing that it's not actually going to be as big of a payoff as one. And once they finish it, it'll be like, yeah, that was cool, guys. They're all connected now. So
Yeah.
you know.
So you think we're going to see this universe and these characters, and then we're going to see the rebirth kind of the X-Men and stuff,
Yeah.
and it starts later on in the other universe.
Some
Miss
people
Marvel's
use
and Namor is the only true mutants we have right now in the MCU, like canon universe. With the Fox stuff, they're going to come in with Secret Wars and have like a big ass fight or whatever, and then they'll probably leave.
Yeah.
And then they can start their own mutant universe in the MCU.
Yeah, I think with the Fox universe, they're gonna pick and choose who they want to bring in. I think there might be a new Wolverine, and all that will be kind of discussed of which version of the Fox universe are they bringing to the MCU. Like with Deadpool 3, I think they're gonna show different Wolverines and then maybe settle on an MCU Wolverine. I don't know if I guess they could just keep Hugh Jackman and stuff, but
Well, Hugh
I can also
Jackman
see him
is
going.
the Wolverine for the Fox universe. The only
I know,
movies
but I'm
that
saying
really aren't the only movies that aren't canon for the Fox universe is like I think Logan and something else, because it wasn't it like Times Past or whatever, where they went back and they reset
Days
the
of
events
Future
of
Past.
Days of Future Past. They reset the ending of the 3rd movie so that none of the mutants got cured or whatever the fuck. So it all became one timeline. That and then the one after that, it's not canon. I forgot. It's fucking that X-Men Fox universe is fucking weird, but
That's what I'm saying. That they might. I know Hugh Jackman is definitely going to be in it, but I'm wondering if because there was rumors that there might be multiple Wolverines in it, and if they'll just use like this as a passing of for the new Wolverine in the MCU, or if Hugh Jackman will be the Wolverine going forward. I don't know.
So what
It
if
really depends.
what if Monica Rambeau ties into the Deadpool movie into the part where she's the reason why they can get into these other universes from that universe, right? Like because you have Binary there now, and she's kind of like, from what I understand, kind of a combination of Captain Marvel and Miss Marvel, right? And you have Monica Rambeau now. She's the other light power, and she's gotten stronger. She's learned how to use her abilities and stuff. And they were able to use that to seal a rift between universes. So what if they try and get her back home, and they try and like do this thing, you know, and like accidentally leak into other universes where the X-Men exist, and then you have Deadpool running amok and all this kind of shit. You know
They
what I mean?
combine it somehow.
Like, and Deadpool's like, I need to kill all these other universe characters that have bled into ours or something. Like, I don't know.
I don't know if Deadpool has anything to do with this. I think Deadpool's probably going to be to do with more with time, because you had Cable from the second one. He time travels.
Right.
But he fixed all of his mistakes that happened earlier in the movie, and he undid all of them. And he killed other versions of himself in the Fox universe. And then in this one, we seen set photos of them at a Fox. There was a Fox logo in the back, so they're probably trying to get rid of the Fox universe if possible. and kind of reboot it in a way. I just don't know how they're going to do it. Like which actors are going to return. They could kind of go either way. They could be like, this is a new Xavier, this is a new Wolverine, or they could just
because
return.
this Fox, the Deadpool and Wolverine we see fighting right now is the Fox universe we already know. Like, so Xavier's going to be Patrick Stewart.
Yeah, but I'm just saying there's rumors that there's other Wolverines and other X-Men characters. So I don't know if those were true or how they're going to do it, but we'll see. I mean, this is the movie, Jasper. I think that is going to kind of answer a lot of questions of how they're going to handle the X-Men and like how they're going to handle like kind of either canceling the Fox universe completely or just kind of redo it, because now they own the Fox universe, so they can kind of do whatever they want.
They're gonna do the mutant saga after this one. That's how they handle it.
The mutant saga.
We won't get another. We won't get any more Fox movies.
Yeah, we're gonna get Fantastic Four. I think that's the next one.
They can't do anything with
X-Men
to 2025.
Yeah. So I think that if anything, Deadpool would end with a teaser of Secret Wars starting, like them getting pulled into Secret Wars. If anything.
Yeah, Secret Wars. That's going to be the next big thing. When is that supposed to? Yeah, go ahead.
That's not till later. So what Psycho was talking about is the contracts, right? With the actors.
Yeah, what are you talking about, Psycho?
There's something I read that they can't have any, can't use the X-Men until 2025. That's like the contract that they have, whatever it is. Even they own them. It's just that they can't use them until 2025, from what I hear.
So what I heard before Psycho was that the old actors, that there was like contracts put in place where there can be like no other actors play characters other than people that had already had like Fox contracts, like the actors from the Fox universe, right? So I think they're pulling from the original because they don't want to go with the younger ones. You know what I mean? So for fan nostalgia right now. And that's why I'm thinking maybe more Deadpool 3, because like I think they're going to, over the next 2 years, we might see more cameos or whatever from these, and maybe Secret Wars plays into it too. But I think they're going to get the use out of these actors and stuff for a little bit, do some fun cameos, do some fun stuff with it. And then the mutant saga, they're going to really go into like this whole new thing, which is that's not going to take place till after this whole saga wraps up, which is going to be for a few years now. So I think we're going to see the culmination of this Fox universe over the next 2 years. But I think Deadpool 3 may be a part of it.
That's the thing, though. Is like we don't have another like Fox tie-in movie or a Fox movie itself for anything to really connect. So it would have to be a weird connection. That's why I would say it would be Secret Wars would be the connection.
I think that Deadpool 3 will be the connection, because that Deadpool 3 was a Fox universe movie.
Yeah, that's the only Fox movie we're like getting relatively soon, and after that we won't get one. So Deadpool 3 is going to have to tell you why or how that connects to the MCU, and I would assume that would be the ending of the movie.
Right, which I think that's probably what I'm saying is I think that's going to be maybe the point of the movie a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, and that's where I think maybe how they set that connection up right now with Monica Rambeau, because they literally set that up right now where it's like another universe. Anything can be there, right? We have no fucking clue what's over there, but we do know it's Beast and Professor X are there and Binary. So it's like, it's not necessarily 100% the same, but it's a version
we know
of
it's we know it's the Fox universe.
Right. It's a version of the Fox universe, right? It could be an alternate Fox universe.
Yeah,
still,
it could be.
Like,
and I looked it up. It looks like Psycho might be right. Like that, the actors and producers are possibly. It's not confirmed, but it seems like that their contracts could expire by 2025, and unless they want to pay Bryan Singer constantly. I think he still gets some creative stay until 2025.
Right. So where I'm going with that, Jasper, is like we already know there's multiple universes, all that stuff. So it's like,
yeah, but like, why would you like buy the Fox Universe X-Men stuff and then bring all that stuff over, but then have it be a different universe that you never knew.
Well,
like
because they
you're
can
gonna
kinda-
do it the Fox Universe from the 2000s.
because all the other Fox Universe movies didn't fucking tie into each other either. So it's like they literally.
You mean Fantastic Four? The Fantastic Four is its own like.
No, I'm talking
Fantastic
about
Four universe.
the X-Men movies.
But that was the point of Days of Future Past, was to tie in all the X-Men movies after the first.
Yeah, but even then they still didn't really tie in.
It was
very well.
such a mess.
It was a convoluted timeline.
I know it didn't do it too well, but that was the point of that movie. So they all connected at the end of the day, even though the connection wasn't great. But that's the point of that movie, was to make them all connect.
I get you, but then like we know that we're getting the older ones and not the newer ones, right? But then we also know now time has passed forward. And we already saw the Phoenix thing take place twice, so apparently that should be around the same timeline, right? With the Jean Grey things that took place, right? So like they could have went with those actors, but instead they went with the original actors, right? So
far, yeah.
The first Phoenix thing with Jean Grey from movie 3 or whatever, they fixed that so that the Phoenix Point from this
is why they should just recast everybody.
Whatever was the main Phoenix Point,
instead
of the third one, because they went back in time and fixed it from that not happening.
Yeah, but there's still time moved forward, and that was still like later on. Like, you know what I mean? Like, what I'm saying is closer to the timeline, it would be the younger cast, even though they should be older by now. They just look young, right? Like,
but
so they went.
Then
back
why
to
would
the
you
older
put
cast.
Beast in there? Like,
that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm saying it's like a potentially alternate one where it's like they just did whatever the fuck they want with it. You know what I mean? So that way they can have.
And Vic makes a good point where Deadpool's probably going to delete half the stuff that we don't like.
Yeah,
in the Fox
and I mean, Binary, we never saw her in any of the X-Men movies either. You know what I mean? So like, she's obviously a core part of them. You know, or pillar of that universe,
or a new member that we just hadn't seen yet.
Right. So alternate version of the Fox universe, yeah,
or just a continuation of that Fox universe that we hadn't seen.
Potentially.
It could. They could go either way. It could be a continuation of the Fox universe, or they could just be like, "This is a brand new universe that you guys haven't seen before, but it has the same actors." But they could do that too.
You got to put into place the rumors from Deadpool 3 too. Is that if there is multiple Wolverines, there's multiple universes they're going to be messing with.
Jumping into. And we've seen the Fox logo and stuff behind, so he's probably going to just be destroying the Fox universe in Deadpool 3. He's be like, yeah, screw this universe, we're starting our own universe. They could literally do that in that movie. That's kind of the character that Deadpool is. He breaks the fourth wall, so he's probably going to go into Fox and destroy.
And we've already seen an alternate universe version of Professor X before, you know. So
yeah,
Wanda.
That's that's the other theory with this movie is Captain Marvel, Brie Larson, that she's actually the variant version, or the version that wasn't supposed to be. It was still supposed to be Monica Rambeau, but it misplaced in this universe. That's why every other version of Captain Marvel we see is Monica Rambeau.
Right.
So that's why all the people are the same in universes except certain people, is because there was a time shift in that thing that caused
she's
the
variant, or she would be the variant.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, there's a lot to just speculate on. I mean, we'll find out. You know what I mean? But it's going to be interesting. I'm excited to see what plays out. I mean, regardless, whatever they're setting up for there, I'm excited because I get to see more X-Men. You know,
and we also know that the Patrick Stewart we saw in Doctor Strange, that was the X-Men universe from the cartoons.
Oh yeah, people said that somewhere. I remember reading that somewhere. That's a continuation from the 90s cartoons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Cool.
That's interesting.
Pretty cool.
Cool.
But either way, what I was going to say before, and we'll end the show, was with Marvel, I'm more confident in Marvel's vision for where they're going than DC. That's all I was going to say. Just DC has been kind of inconsistent.
Yeah, fuck DC.
Well, the thing is, if they have this whole big grand plans for James Gunn right now, but if the couple of those movies come out and they don't pan out, they're just gonna abandon the ship like they always do, right? So like who knows what's gonna happen. All right, well, that's it, guys. I mean, huge implications from this movie. I recommend the Marvels. Loki season 2 is absolutely amazing. Any other thoughts real quick before we get out of here, guys?
What do you guys rate Loki?
I give it a
7.
That is 7.
Wow. Okay. Such a tough critic.
I
I'll
like
give
the first season better.
Yeah. I'll give it like a solid 9. Yeah, I mean the payoff at the end was just too great.
I'll give it a 10 for me.
A 10.
I loved it. Yeah,
that is a masterpiece. You thought it was perfect. Yeah, I can't really too much disagree with that. I mean,
like it did. I mean, it made me like the character again. Like, I was interested in the universe that they set up and loved the acting, and like, to me, it was a 10. I don't know. I didn't have any complaints about it. So
yeah,
pretty good.
The reason I wouldn't do a 10 for me personally is just because I felt like I would have liked to see the events that happened in the last episode take place over like 2 episodes. Like it felt all kind of like, like I felt like I wanted more. So, but
I will say Sylvie, like that was kind of a thing that might make me drop it down to 9.5 or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you really like Sylvie and stuff, that she's pretty different in season 2. So that would cause me to drop it a little bit to like a 9.5 or something. For sure. But I still thought it was fantastic.
It turns out Sylvie was right all along. Killing him was what needed to be done.
Yep.
I guess so. What about you, Psycho? Score for Loki?
I'd give it an 8.5.
8.5. Right on.
Yep.
Nice.
Cool. All right. Well, let's get everybody out of here. Appreciate you all being here again. Thank you so much for tuning in to FunPop, and we'll be seeing you, or I will be seeing you on Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern with Pong Soul for PM in the PM, and then back Friday night for Xbox Ultimate at 10 p.m. Eastern time. Psycho, tell everybody where we're going to find you, bro.
Thanks to everybody for coming out tonight. It was fantastic to see you guys chatting up in the chat. And you can find me on social media everywhere, Psychonauts 8. Monday, Tuesdays, and Fridays on the Fun Speculation Network at 10 o'clock on great shows. And I'll see you Friday.
Right on, bro. Thanks, Psycho. I know you get tired because you just get off of work and shit and then come and hop on the show and shit. But, like, thanks for being here, dude. Appreciate you, man. 3-Bit. Where can everybody find you, sir?
Everyone can find me on Twitter at i3bit. I'll probably just be posting about Alan Wake 2 and maybe some Starfield stuff. And a couple of commercial stuff this week that I'll be allowed to talk about. So look out for that. A lot of awesome topics today that we got to go through. This is why we kind of want to do FunPop, is just kind of nerd out for a bit, aside from gaming talk and stuff. So appreciate the invite, Mav, and everybody else here in chat. You guys are awesome. It's cool to see the people in chat kind of jump in and talk about comics and stuff. Same people that go into our gaming talk and talk about this stuff. So appreciate everybody here, and I'll see you guys in the next one.
Yeah, appreciate you. And 3-Bit, I got a question for you.
Yep.
What brand is that hat?
This is a Gucci.
Oh
Gucci
my
hat?
fuck!
Is that authentic Gucci?
I don't know.
Oh, how much you pay for it? Like
$7,000. I can't remember. It was more than a hat should be.
Are you talking about more than $100?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fucking Gucci. It's like
it's like 300, more than $300.
think so. It was about like 300 plus, maybe.
Yeah. Oh my god, man. That's hey, cool. What I'm not gonna criticize it. It's awesome. But you gotta. I just noticed it, and I remembered that you had a Versace hat.
Oh
now
yeah,
you got a Gucci hat.
This is my two fanciest hats.
Okay,
that's all I have.
So you don't
Then it
have
ends
like
there.
you don't got like a
I
Chanel
don't have, like, a collection.
hat and like
He's got Gucci underwear on right now too.
Balenciaga
It's my two
hat.
fancies.
You got
Some Gucci bed sheets.
I wish. No, I just have two fancy hats. That's it.
It's nice. I like it.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
And by the way, I don't pay for $300 hats. It was a
He's got to
gift.
wipe his feet on his Gucci welcome mat.
No, it was a gift. Okay.
Yeah, it was a gift.
It's okay. I'm not shaming.
The first one wasn't. The black one wasn't. I bought that.
It's your
It
money.
was like
you can
$200.
buy whatever you're into. I'm just like, it's
the Versace one I bought, and that
crazy
was like
to me,
the same. Yeah.
Versace one. So
Yeah,
how much was the Versace one?
That was like 200, I think.
Okay. Was it used?
Yeah. No.
I'm just kidding. No, that's awesome, dude. I wish I had a pair of clothing that cost that much. But the most expensive thing I have, I think, is my pair of boots. I have a pair of like cowboy boots that are expensive. But
yeah, shoes. That makes sense.
I mean, I think
that makes more sense than a hat.
Yeah,
to me.
But
I already did it, so
yeah. Hey, style is style, man. I love the hats. All right, Jasper, how much was your hat?
Like $20 or some shit. Like off the Xbox.
Right on.
Yeah. Lord Jasper, Twitter, Lord Master Jasper, YouTube, all that fun stuff. Monday, Tuesday, Friday, right here, 10 o'clock. Fun Speculation Network with FSP, FunPop, and Xbox Ultimate. That's what I do. That's where I'm at. Check it out.
Right on, bro. Thank you, Jasper. You guys rock, chat. I hope y'all have an awesome night. Take it easy. Peace out.
Bye, all.
Hey, everybody.